Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's time for some more of the Burning Wheel. So, all of this chaos is going on. There's madness in the castle, chaos in the kingdom. But meanwhile, outside of all of this biz, what is Agatha up to? What are you getting up to there, Agatha?
Struggling to find food.
Struggling to survive.
Yeah,
I dig it.
it's the most humble of goals out here.
Right. Okay. So what does that look like? Is this like you're hunting for food in the woods kind of situation or begging for scraps kind of situation? Like where do you, because you have some conflicting beliefs around what you want to do.
Yeah, I think I'm I don't know if I'm competent enough to hunt, so I might try scavenging for food.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I might have to do that.
Okay. Sure. That makes sense.
I mean, let me just do a quick look at hunting. I'm close by hunting. Yeah, okay, maybe I need to open up hunting.
I like
Maybe I
this.
try
Hunting
hunting.
domestic animals, ob 1. Hunting feral animals, ob 2. Hunting wild animals, or goblins, ob 3.
Or goblins.
Hunting
Well, we all
monsters
know
is ob
that
7.
goblins are hard to hunt because they are best in cave.
So, yeah, what do you, I guess this is hunting wild animals. This is ob 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tracking and trapper are forks for this, but you don't have hunting yet, so.
Don't have hunting yet, and it is based on perception agility average, which for me makes it 4.5, so 4. Okay.
Now, yeah, if you want to lower the ob, if you want to go for an easier ob, you could try to like steal goats from a village or something.
I think I want to do that. I
Okay.
think that makes the most sense. Because this way I can get two birds stoned at once, Adam. I can both find food and help frighten the common folk.
Right, and pillage the village.
We can build towards pillaging the village. Yes.
Okay.
So I think that's what I will do. And of course, this comes with its own set of risks. But thankfully, I thought of my new instinct, which is always cover my tracks and choose my paths carefully when near villages.
Okay.
So I will be doing my damnedest to not get followed back to my woodsy den after stealing a goat. It's a great plan. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, so I'm rolling my hunting skill.
If you fail, you will not be able to get a goat, but I will present you with an alternate opportunity.
Just the deadliest game of all, man.
So it would be ob 1, goes up to ob 2.
Yeah, do I have any
I don't know. Aren't you blind?
modifiers or penalties? Yeah, but I can hunt by smell.
I suppose.
So blind, +2 ob to speed or agility based tests that rely on sight.
Hunting is a test that relies on sight. Is it a speed or agility test?
It's perception/agility.
Okay, so yes. So your blindness does affect you.
Great. So
but that doesn't double. The +2 ob gets added after.
Okay, so the ob is 2.
The ob is 1, which is doubled to 2, and then
doubled to 2
becomes 4.
2.
It becomes 4 because of blindness.
I'm just gonna put 2 into the formula, and that'll pop out ob 4 and be accurate.
It should, yes.
Okay, it did not roll the thing. Let me try again.
You're not allowed.
Okay, just one more time.
Okay.
Ob 4. There we go.
There we go. Oh, so
I get 2
6s.
So I'm gonna.
So you got 3 successes. You actually only need 1 more, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna roll these, and it explodes. So I fucking do it.
Yes.
I hunt goat.
Yeah. You think that what you're going to eat is the goat, but it is you who is the goat all along. So yeah, no problem for that ob 4. Yeah, it wasn't actually ob 8, just for everybody like watching at home. So
Oh gosh, yeah, I put in the wrong thing. I'm dumb.
yeah, see, this is how it rolled out. So yeah, you find a goat. I think there's probably a couple of them, and they're out grazing. And there's like a one of the villagers, and I don't think you've started scaring them enough yet to like. They're not like
very out explicitly. They aren't scared.
Yeah, so I think it's just like one of the kids of one of the families, takes the goats out in the evening to do the thing, and the goats are grazing in some like rockier area.
And I think she's just been like waiting there for a long time, and they like happen by, and she like pounces on one, just like suddenly out of nowhere there is a wolf.
Mm-hmm. And you want to let this youngster see this?
Yes, it is best if he sees it.
Okay.
And I think there's like my little fox familiar is like up in a tree nearby, like watching and providing lookout, and I have to like be like, okay, I think it's close enough, and I can hear and smell it with my real body, and then I like jump out. It's like I almost miss and like bite the wrong part of the goat. And
the kid is going to be probably too terrified to remember the weird awkwardness.
Yeah, exactly. But there is this like strange awkwardness. But from the kid's perspective, it's a wolf that is 6 feet tall at the shoulder eating one of his goats.
Yes, a giant wolf. Yeah.
And she like gets onto its neck and then like shakes it and breaks its neck and then drags it off into the woods.
Okay. So this is your hunting roll. Would you like to do something else to make sure that this kid... Because what's going to happen, I will tell you this, is the kid is going to go back and be like, a giant wolf, it was this big. And they're going to be like, uh-huh. Like, you fucking kid, it was a wolf. But, like, you're supposed to do things when there's wolves, right? Scare them off, like, use a torch. But the kid is going to be like, no, but it was giant. And no one will believe them because this kid is just a kid. And this is exactly how these things go. Unless there's something you want to do.
What is some sign that I can leave that's like an ill-omened thing? I'm going to roll my villager-wise. We're going to establish some more things about villagers.
Yeah, sure.
And so if I want to say that something that is true, I tell you what it is first, right?
Yeah, I don't know if this is villager-wise, though, right? Like, this would be like ill-omens-wise.
Or omens-wise?
Yeah, or omens-wise. Omens-wise is a good one, too.
What about apocalypse-wise? Could I just leave a sign of the end times?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe there's some kind of like Fenrir style like wolf myth, but that the ob will be much higher if you're using apocalypse wise, because then it's not just a giant wolf 6 feet at the shoulder ate the goat. It's a great wolf that is a sign of the end of the world.
Oh God, the world-eating wolf.
Yeah, which is more likely they're not going to believe the kid.
So I'll just start opening.
Like it's one thing to be like, Mama, a giant wolf ate the goat, and Mama, Fenrir ate the goat.
Yeah. So
a kindly man gave me this jar of wine. Bullshit. Jesus Christ gave me this jar of wine, Mama.
Okay. So omen wise, it's being opened now. And so it's just some like ill-fated arrangement of stuff, and I'm actually going to get a spirit to do this work for me of like drawing the pattern, because I'm not a human. I can't do it.
This is just establishing what you would know.
Yeah, exactly. So this first step is to establish what I would know, and then
and so what is the omen and what does it mean? And then I'll give you an ob for omen wise.
So the omen is God, what would it be? I think this is like some wicker like effigy shit again, because we've touched on this in the past. So
you want to make an omen that you can't physically construct yourself?
Yeah, because I got to make a spirit do it.
Okay.
But I think it's the only reasonable thing I can think. Just like, or I guess like the blood in the snow forming a pattern of like some ominous thing. I mean, is it just the sign of the wheel? Am I establishing that the sign of the wheel?
So the sign of the wheel is the mark of the adversary, right? It's a symbol of the church.
Devil.
Yeah, it's not a pagan symbol. So if you wanted them to think that the wolf in the form, the devil in the form of a wolf came and ate our goat.
I'm not so into that. I want this to be like the woods and all the bad stuff of the woods is coming back. So what's a suitable symbol of that? Oh, I know what it is. I make the house symbol of the House of the Wolf.
Sure, of
the
course.
like mythical werewolf.
Because that's the thing everybody is
Castle.
already like wary of.
Yeah. So I have to make an omen-wise test to know.
So in this case,
what that
the
looks
omen
like.
would be, bloody wolf, giant bloody wolf footprints, but also like bloody human handprints in the snow, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's the
this,
thing you
like-
need the spirit for.
Yeah, exactly. So I will roll this thing. What is my og?
Since you're leveraging an existing like myth, 2, I think.
Up 2, so then doubled.
Yes, because you don't have a.
Good luck to me. I only get 2 successes.
Okay. All right. So I think here the omen is misinterpreted, right? Like they will interpret it as something else.
Cool. I'm still going to summon a spirit to do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
How difficult a task would you say this is? It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty easy to just draw patterns in the snow.
Yeah, I don't think you need to roll. Like I think in this case you can
This
just.
is like the low-level supernatural bullshit.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you got to make it spookified.
Yeah. So we see the handprints appear in the snow.
And yeah, I think like the handprints appearing in the snow happens when everyone comes to look. Like when the kid goes and gets his family and like someone comes with him to be like, and he's like, look, no, see? And it's like, there's the signs of me eating the thing. And then like, as they're looking at it, this like handprint presses into the snow and like blood bubbles up from under the snow and fills the handprint. And this like happens around the scene.
Okay. Now, if you're actively trying to spook these people with something like that I think you will have to roll. They'll have to be
I
a
would
spirit
love
for
I
that.
would
Okay.
love to
Yeah.
roll
So
for
that's
that.
different. If it's just like setting the scene when they're not there, yeah.
But no, this is like me like lurking nearby.
Okay.
And when I know that they're near, I like bid the spirits do this thing. And low level spooky stuff, there is a category for this. Spooky stuff. Spirit may be tasked to influence its domain in a spooky supernatural manner. This is an odd one service. And there's no in-game mechanical effect
There you go.
beyond that I make spooky stuff happen.
Okay.
And just to make sure that I don't get counter spooked, I make the roll. So odd 1.
Okay.
Being wounded sucks, Adam.
Being
It's
wounded
real hard.
does really suck. Yeah. But hey, you got that one success. So you're good.
It's enough to do it, but I will suffer a similarly spooky retribution at some point. Spookiness might come about at an inopportune moment. But yeah, I guess
or like alternately the spirit rats on you and the actual werewolves of the woods know there's a pretender lurking around.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, whatever it may be. So yeah, like the villagers come out to look, and then like this spooky thing happens with the blood.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it's like a bunch of villagers. It's just like the kid runs home in terror. The kid runs home like, "Mommy, Daddy, there's a giant wolf. He came and got me." And then the like dad is like, "God damn it!" Like gets his axe, and they like go out looking for like a regular wolf. And then he sees the handprints, and
yeah, and I bid the spirits of ice and snow to make this spooky thing happen. And like the wind picks up a little bit at a suitable moment to make it extra ominous, all that stuff.
Yeah. And so he takes his kid, and they run back to the village, but the word spreads that like, the cursed House of the Wolf is on the run, and it'll take some time for the rumor to get around and see how it builds.
And at some point during that, it gets misinterpreted, right? Because I didn't get the omen correct.
Yes, exactly. And that's when they start to think that it's
they get
something
it twisted
else.
somehow. Yeah. Yeah, and so Agatha like drags this small goat carcass back into the woods and like eats it, and there's this like horrible mess of blood everywhere.
Crunching on its bones, and yeah.
And I think if there's an established thing about how like ravens hang out with wolves and eat their stuff, eat their carrion, and so she waits for ravens to come.
I mean, they know where you live, right? Like where you've been hiding, and so they just hang out and wait for you to bring food.
They know to come around.
So they're just standing around waiting for you to finish, like hyenas to a lion, right?
Yeah, and then she just like waits nearby and like indicates that they're permitted to come eat at it. And then she's going to try to talk to them.
Okay, sure. Yeah, they fly in and start pecking at they're pecking the bits off of the like skull of the goat.
Yeah, and so she just kind of like growls out some speech to them, saying like, which one of you will carry a message for me?
I think that the ravens, most of them are busy eating. They're like, no, stop interrupting our meal. We're trying to eat. Because if one of them stops to talk to you, then another one's going to get in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And the one of the ravens, though, one of the ones that's like maybe older and is afforded, like they're going to leave some food for it. It cocks its head at you, and says, a message carried in exchange for what?
Name your price.
They all like laugh, like, ooh, desperate. Like they're laughing at you like they expect a wolf to be like, you do as I say, and like get all pissy.
Yeah, totally.
And they're just like, what? Ha ha ha, stupid wolf. You don't know how this game is played.
Well, so yeah, I'm like, name your price, they all laugh, and then when they're done laughing, I'm just like, and I will give my offer.
And and then the raven says, a copper of gold and silver. And then like looks at you like,
Yeah, I just kind of like growl at them and just say, a price that can be paid, or I'll eat you one by one.
It kind of like hops back, and they look at you like, okay, you don't have to be a dick about it. Do you want to like bargain with them? Basically?
Yes, I totally want to bargain with these ravens.
Yeah.
Because I have the bargaining skill.
Sure, let's do it.
And they're suitably, I don't know, I feel like it's a bit of a stretch for bargaining, because bargaining is normally like making deals with demons, but
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking more like, I mean, you're haggling essentially.
Yeah, should I be using haggling instead?
I mean, you're not making a resources test here. Like there is room for it being both. I
feel like this is a supernatural deal. It's not
they're not
highfalutin as some.
They're not particularly supernatural, and if the skill is just for using against spirits, then you can't use it outside of that situation. But I think it's just like you could persuade them, right? This is persuade. Like it's in your best interest to do this.
Yeah,
and I'll give you a thing.
And so yeah, my reasons given are yeah. What do I actually offer these ravens? I think I just like, well, when I remind them of who I am, but also then ask very kindly, like, and I need to go back to being that. So please, like, yeah, she just says, there was a time when we had a different arrangement, but now that I am in this state, and she like, like whisks her tail in disapproval. We come to new terms, but I ask that you honor some of our established agreements from the past, because we can return to such a state. If you carry this message to the covens for me, they will reward you, and I will as well.
Okay. All right. Make your persuade.
Where's persuade now? Here we go. What's my og?
What's the will of a raven?
The will of the raven. They're not as wise as the crayfish.
I was gonna say the crayfish is.
Yeah, you don't want to try to
skill.
fuck with a crayfish. Yeah. How wise is how willful is a raven? I mean, I feel like two
like a 1 or 2.
I would say two probably seems about right to me.
Okay. Can I fork bargaining, Adam?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, cool. And so obtuse?
Because you're used to making like special deals.
So
yes.
yeah, ravens would have a higher perception than will.
Yeah, obtuse.
But yeah. Cool. So I do it.
Nice.
And yeah, all of this while still wounded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're doing good.
Ugh, it's hard.
So the raven says, the raven that you're talking to says, curious, the wolf that is a woman wants the women who are wolves to pay her mind. We will carry your message, wolf woman.
It'll be a good story for your children, after all.
The ravens take on a somber tone when you say that, and they say, "This is a winter of no eggs."
I am to bring an end to it. So perhaps it is best we work together then.
And they kind of look to each other and say, one of them speaks up from the back and says, "It is a time of men and their stone towers."
Yeah, and she like snarls at that. No friend of that am I.
And you can tell, you get this impression from the group of them that like this is a conversation they've had before, where like at some point at one of their little gatherings, they've been like, maybe we should just ditch the woods and go live in the like eaves and towers of the castle, right? Like, maybe
Yeah.
we should go back.
And yeah, so to like press that point, she says, that castle is a cursed place. No good can come of it, and living there reduces creatures of the wild to fools and cads. Servants, nothing better. They'll have you ferreting about for their entertainment before you know it.
And
I almost succumbed to it.
the raven you were bargaining with kind of clucks his throat and says to you, all of us, everyone, fang and feather, serve. Today, Brood Wolf, we serve you. Who do you serve? And who serve the coven? And he kind of like cocks his head and says, there's no out from servitude. None at all.
Better choice of masters, though. I'd rather serve the woods than some stone tomb. Wouldn't you?
And the raven kind of like dips his head, and you can see the others are sort of done with the body, and says, "We take to wing. Mind the weather."
Yeah, and she does the like wolf equivalent of chuckle.
Mm-hmm. And and then they flutter off into the woods.
Yeah, and I think she like paces about for a while in thought, like trying to figure out her next move. And yeah, I think the next important thing is shelter. So I'm going to make another attempt at finding shelter. The last time we did this, it resulted in many deaths. But maybe she goes back now, like it's been a day or whatever. Like she goes back to the burnt out ruin of the village to like sniff it out and see what's up.
I mean, it did have a pretty cool goat there. You just go get
Black Phillip, black crown grows out his head. Yeah. Yeah, so I think she's like done being scared of it and is like going to try returning to it and sniffing it out, seeing what became of the awful creepy black goat, which I don't really know about, but also seeing what became of the like weird zombie guy. The restless dead that she stirred up with her spirit binding.
Yeah. So on your way there, when your familiar realizes where you're going, starts to whine and like slow down. Does that like obstinate child thing where it's like, oh, I don't want to, but I can't. Like, I'm not gonna run off in the other direction. So it just keeps like slowing down.
And after a little bit of that, she like
getting
turns.
Distracted and like smelling trees and like kind of trying to get you to like lose interest in where you're going, really passively.
Yeah, she turns back and like growls at it, and just says, "I'm gonna go try to make amends, lay to rest the trouble there."
And he hops up onto a stump of a tree and kind of like he looks at you and says, "Because you can communicate, right? He can just talk to you."
I mean, I feel like while I'm a wolf, the two of us can talk.
Yeah,
but maybe Oz has been very like taciturn, doesn't like.
I think so. Yeah.
Much.
So you get the feeling then, because we talked about it being like an emotive communication thing. So you get a feeling of disapproval and of futility of like why go back to the closest equivalent is like we don't eat where we shit, right? Like you made your mess. Why are you going back there? And that's the feeling you get of like, no, you're this is a bad idea, and for that reason, and that you made a mess, and now why are you going back?
I don't like leaving messes around, especially not in the woods. It's not fitting. And if I'm to reconnect with the covens, they won't be none too pleased either. This kind of work is sloppy. So let me go back there and fix it and help me fix it.
And he doesn't want to go. You get an obstinate feeling of like, I didn't want to have to say no to you, but now I don't want, like, I definitely don't want to. This feeling of like, if you go, I mean, go by yourself.
I won't help you.
Exactly. I don't want to. So how much control do you have over your familiar? Can you just be like, you have to?
If I concentrate, I can like pilot it around, right? So I could just like take over, but that's not really the relationship that Agata wants to have with it.
Mm-hmm.
Offer me a better plan. We can come to a compromise. And she's at this point is like sitting in front of it. It's up on like a stump, and she's like seated in front of it, like swishing her tail and like idly licking her wounds.
Okay. Yeah, like I think you're familiar. It's tricky because if it weren't for you, what would be the case? Like, what would be the spirit be doing? Right? Like
I think it was like willing to come do this kind of thing. It was like looking for a job, as it were. And I was like, you can have this job. It might not be terribly happy with the exact circumstances of it now that it's here, but it like signed up for this. It was like a willing partner in this. Like she entreated a spirit to come and be in this.
Let's see.
And that it's been with her a long time.
Yeah.
Because this is a trait from one of my previous life paths.
Yeah. When do you remember when you got this one?
It might be as old as I am. Let me double check.
We'll go where its master directs it to go. Look at what its master directs it to look at.
Yeah, gifted child. This has been with me forever. So someone else entreated this to be with me. I think like my family or my like witchy coven that I came from, like gave this to me as part of my like destiny, whatever the fuck, you know, like they were like, yes, this child must have this thing.
It was like,
or
that it was bound to you.
Or that it was born at the same time and by some magic that no one controls was bound to me and we're like stuck together.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. All right. So the feeling you get then is quiet resignation, this like where you go, I go, but why don't I ever get to decide? Why can't you be my familiar? Right? This feeling of like this isn't fair. But like grudging acceptance of that this is the way things are, even if we don't like them.
Yeah, and
I definitely think that's the vibe. That like, why do I have to do what you say? This is horse shit.
And yeah, like as she's turning to like keep walking towards the village, Agata just says, "Don't you remember the stories? Mother Wolf isn't fair."
There's a sense of sort of like wandering curiosity about what's going to happen if you die.
I wonder what would happen if you died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
maybe when we both die, it's my turn, and we go to the spirit
we go to
world.
a different reality. Yeah. So yeah, she like walks off towards the village, and I'm gonna like from a distance, like I said, like sniff it out, and try to get a feel for like what is going on there before I just kind of waltz up.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that you smell in the air is like burning, right? You smell burnt wood, burnt like fur from the animals that died. The still, I mean, now kind of gone stagnant, like cooked meat smell in the air. And it doesn't smell like a village anymore. And I mean, I don't know that it's that easy to like get an idea of what's happening just by sniffing at the
Can
air.
I use my wolf snout to assess? Because I get a +1 die for that.
Yeah.
A +1 die to perception for assesses. So I'm like smelling the air for anything kind of unexpected or, you know, like strange beyond what I know of the place having ruined it.
Yeah. That makes sense. Let's take a look here. Because I think assess is like a specific thing. I mean, you can make
says It just says for perception to assess. So it implies that I'm just rolling perception, but
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, you can make the test regardless. It's just whether
Yeah.
it applies to this or not.
okay. So I'll get, and I'm just assuming it's open ended.
Yeah, I think that's how that's supposed to work. Assess is an action in fight, but it's like a non-fighty action, looking for specific details. A perception test in search of whatever you described. Okay, yeah. So
yeah.
you're
So
just,
what I'm looking for, the dangers that I know of is what I'm looking for, right? This like half dead thing that attacked me, like, and the events wherein I cursed myself to be a wolf to begin with. Looking for that thing, and yeah, any other like threats that I might pick up by smelling, and then I'm going to try to lay to rest the horror of this place as best as I am able.
Okay, sure. Yeah, make that test.
Cool. So I get 2 successes.
Okay. You smell. Unless you want to spend a fate point, you get a 6 there.
I don't think so. I have very few fate points left.
Okay.
So I'm down to 2.
So I think the thing that you smell as you scent the air is above the all the burnt smell. You smell an unfamiliar but pungent, sort of sweet, like smoky smell in the air. Something that's not you couldn't smell it the last time, but it's definitely present now.
Like a sweet smell.
Yeah, like vaguely sweet, very strong, but indistinct in terms of like you don't know where you like
Yeah,
feel
like
it
I can't
from.
really place it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think so. Like she like kind of paces the outskirts of the village like one time around.
Okay.
To like gather this information.
Okay.
And then like I'm gonna pilot my familiar in and like look around a little bit.
All right.
Or like, you know, like ride its eyes as it checks out the village a little bit. Just yeah, looking for like anything that's still making smoke or, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So the village is several wooden buildings that are now piles of smoldering rubble. The fire was hot and bright, and there's a lot of like wood here, but has since it's been a few days, right? So it's since like all the fire parts are gone. There's still smoke from some like the embers, some of the buried embers, you know, because like the fire lights up underneath and all the stuff falls on top of it and that burns. And then underneath there's still stuff kind of smoldering.
Yeah, and there's that weird like formation of ice, or because like it melted the snow and then everything froze again. So there's lots of like
and so the whole area is still smoky. There's ash and like dirt and stuff all over everything because the ash would have like blown all over, and the snow is gray and murky, and there's like blood too. And there's still in the center or nearest to the center of this kind of like wood, because it's in the woods at the edge, and there's been like the trees cut away to make room for the village. And in the sort of center sort of part, there's the stone structure that used to be the base of this hall where the headman lived and where the soldiers were. Now, are you attempting to do this like stealthily, or are you just focused on like running around seeing as much as you can?
I think the familiar is probably being sneaky because it's scared.
All right. Does it have its own stats?
It does have its own stats.
Listen, you're a normal person playing Burning Wheel is happy having one character, but you need to have 3.
I gotta have like 8 characters.
Andrew needs 3.
Andrew needs 3 different character sheets.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's equal to the 3 of us. Like,
true.
Around.
Yeah, regular Agatha, Wolf Agatha, and then.
All right, where is this trait? I know it's in here somewhere.
The familiar.
Yeah, I have.
It's in the codex. I think it was like 411. I think is where I saw it.
Yeah, 411.
The stat block I think is near the back.
It's in the actual trait.
Spirit familiar is on 528 in the codex.
So yeah, it has will G2, perception G3, agi B4, speed B5, power B3.
Okay, so what's stealth based on?
Stealth is based on speed.
Okay.
So it's rolling B5.
Okay. All right. So you roll B5, and this sets the difficulty for being observed. But don't double the ob, because I'm also rolling with a thing that is like double
Yeah,
ob. So
I'm just gonna roll a B5 on this other sheet I have. So just ob 1.
ob 0, right? Because it's an opposed test.
Well, I get 0 successes.
All right, so you get spotted as long as I can get 1 success.
Yeah, rip the familiar.
So there's I would roll three dice, but there's some help involved, so I'm gonna roll 4. Okay, all right. So this familiar gets spotted, and here's what you see. So you're seeing 3 familiars as familiars scampering around the town. In the center, or nearest to the center of town, you hear a noise suddenly as someone comes out of one of the like semi still standing like parts of the building. Basically they've like pushed open the door and come out, and they're got soot all over them. They're wearing a big fur hat with like ear flaps like tied under their chin, big fur coat, heavy boots. They have a walking stick in their hand, and this door, you can see it's already been like pulled open, right? Been like forced open. It's broken at the top, and there's a big sweep where the snow was pushed away. And they come out of this area, and when they do, you can barely see their face because they have like a muffler in front of their face, but their eyes like lock onto your familiar, and they yell. They make a startled sound like ah, and they shout in a language that I don't think Agatha understands. Like a quick shout into the little building, and then someone else comes out too. Equally like impossible to discern. Fur hat, big coat. And do you run off when you get spotted, or do you just like sit there?
Yeah, I think the familiar runs away.
Okay. All right.
Do I recognize any of their like dress, deportment, the language you said I don't recognize? I'm just trying to make like any sense of these people.
Yeah. Look at your skills. Hang on a second. I don't think so.
Yeah, totally. Okay,
No.
so
they were both dressed similarly, but you don't.
But
yeah,
it's
you
nothing
don't know.
that rings bells for me. All right, so I'm assuming they're just like scavengers of some type.
I mean, they were dressed. They don't look like you can rule out like woodland folk.
Yeah, exactly. They're not people that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some kind of other people. Yeah, well, I guess this place is not an option then if it's inhabited by these weirdos.
I mean, you only saw 2 of them, so.
But where there's one human, Adam, there are always more humans. They're like rats, except I can't speak to them with rat speech. And so, yeah, whereas I came here to like do stuff, I think now Agata's just like, well, okay, this place is not safe. I can't stay here. And so she turns away from the village for a second time.
Okay. Well, as you head back into the woods, turning your back on the village, I think we linger on these two guys, and they're having a conversation in this language we don't get subtitles for, and one of them says something to the other, and the other shrugs, like they're like, oh, I saw, like basically they're having this conversation like, oh, I saw something in the woods. It was a tiny fox.
And the fox has 3 tails.
Yeah.
And is like.
And I think the other one like cuffs that one on the side of the head. He's like, you're going crazy. You should drink less and work more, basically. And they turn back, and you see that there's behind this area, we see in the camera that we see behind this area, there's an area where they've dug. There's some pits that are being dug, and in each of the pits there's against them there's some sticks that are like tied together, like they're digging graves, and it looks like they're like pulling bodies out of the rubble and putting them in graves and then burying them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we see this in the background
with like an effigy.
Well, marking them with like the symbol of, we've seen the symbol before, like all over the castle. Like these guys look like they're pious to the same religion that Miro follows.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're out here burying the dead. But as for why, who knows? Cool. So hold on, I'm just gonna make.
And I guess my question for you, Adam, is at what point in all of this do I feel the like 1,000 voices cry out and then be silenced when shit goes down?
Yeah, right. And that's a good question. So maybe with them too, right? Like maybe you turn to go, and that's when this happens. there's you don't get all the ice stuff, but you do feel the breaking, the enchaining, and
Because I'm connected to the spirits of the castle too.
Yes.
Specifically that castle, but castles in general. But yeah.
So these two look at you. Something happens. Like there's a shifting. There's the zoom the camera in while we dolly back thing, and one of the guys falls to his knees and like pulls the muffler away from his face and like throws up in the snow. The other like grabs his head as if hearing something terrible, and for you feel a sudden wave of heat and power kind of like wash over you from the direction of the castle.
And like the hairs go back, stand up on the back of her neck. And,
and then almost immediately thereafter, it's followed by sudden cold. And I think that like the people, this ice, and this is actually a good elaboration on it. The ice that freezes the castle is magical spirit ice, right? So the people in the castle are all frozen, but so too are the spirits of the castle.
And
but
so
the
like
spirits of ice and snow are like, yeah.
Well, so it's not. That's the thing, is it's not them, right? It's not the spirits of ice and snow. It's like the ice of heaven, right? It's this like different kind of pure singular freezing.
Yeah, it's an invader into this place, really. And so like her ears go back on her head, and she gets like all the body language gets really like anxious and angry, and I think she's going to run back towards the city.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
In the hopes that, she can do something about all this crazy shit. Like tear the Angel of Winter's neck open with her jaws and drink its lifeblood. That's what she wants to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's very solid.
Very
plan.
plausible, I'm sure. But yeah, she like hurries back that way. Just like because she feels this need to be involved, even though it's probably stupid.
Yeah.
So she goes. Yeah.
Heads back to the city. Cool. Awesome. Okay. So meanwhile, I guess in town, the next most immediate thing was going to be going to
check on the king.
Yeah.
I think both Miro and myself were kind of like on in that direction.
Okay.
Yep, that was my plan.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. So Miro, you're gonna follow. You're gonna follow along with Alessandra as she goes.
Yeah, or lead the way, I guess.
Oh no, I'm definitely like beeline. Like I'm not waiting for anybody. I definitely left before you did, and I'm not like slowing down.
Okay. Yep. Following them.
Okay. I mean, Gavril Reza, he doesn't go with you. He fucks off. He goes to see after his kid. If you want to go see the king, that's on you. And you want to head for the king's. Where do you go to find the king, I guess is the question.
I mean, it was late at night and the king wasn't present in like our little soiree. So I would assume that I would probably go to where I knew that like there's probably like a small like suite or like a large like suite where the king's like private quarters are that aren't necessarily like just a bedroom. Like there's probably like his own office, and probably the queen's like private quarters are also like around there. And that's not where we would ordinarily meet for like our assignations, but like everyone knows where that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we discussed that there's like a corridor that those bits are on, and the Lord Protector's places out front of that. So I guess we'll get to see what she did before we get in there.
Okay. I mean, it's abandoned. There's no one there. He's not there when you get there.
The queen was at rest in her chambers, right?
There's like a special room where they keep her. Yeah.
Well, but when she fell into the deep sleep, it was
they moved her though.
Oh.
Yeah. She has like the Magus has moved her somewhere special. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that what it is Alessandra is like frantic, and like she like goes there. Is the Lady Protector would be with the king.
He's with the king. Yep.
Yeah, so she would like go there. There's nobody there. Like she would probably then be like, well, maybe, and like she probably just like would run from there into like the queen's quarters and see that like no one was there either.
Certainly no one alive.
Yeah, and then like getting progressively more like, okay, like what's happening? And I think that there's no one alive around.
Not really. Like you see lots of horrifically frozen statue people.
She was hanging out with the queen's circle people. Like it doesn't make any sense that she wouldn't know where the queen was. Like,
no, you know, yeah, you know. It just you don't.
Like that would be.
I want to know. I want to know in what order you decide to go look there.
That would be like it would be like king's quarters. Okay, he's not here, but the queen's quarters are right here. So let me just check and then like go to. Obviously, she's aware that he's in love with his wife, so go to where the queen's being held.
Okay.
In love with his wife like a jerk.
Yeah, how dare he? So you head that way, and I think you come around the corner and you see the doorway that leads into that room in the hall, and the royal protector. You see her standing guard outside.
And yeah, I think I would like rush up to her and I'd be like, "The king, something horrible has happened here. Is he all right? And she's stumbling over her words and like kind of like being like, is he all right? Like, please, like, tell me something. Like, I want to go like just rush past you and see him, but also you're armed. So
yeah,
she's not going to just run past an armed guard. Yeah,
she doesn't have her sword out, but it's, you know.
I mean, that's her job.
Mm-hmm. So you rush to the side of the royal protector, and she just kind of like gives you a steely look, and she says, "His Highness is within, with the Queen."
Have you been to check on him? Have you not seen something terrible has happened here? We need to make sure that they're both all right. And like they're both is definitely like. She makes sure to include it. Like, this is the royal people. And then she's like, I was in the hall and so many nobles are frozen, some dead. He is our king. And like, this is the whole, like, please give me more information, but I can't like be like, just fuck it. Let me see him.
Yeah. She stares at you and she says, His Highness, he's fine. He is safe. And I intend to keep him that way.
And I think that she like looks around and like feels that like hopeless, like I actually don't have any right to see the person that I most want to see.
I think there is a tiny bit, and you can decide if Lady Corvidae is picking this up or if she's too panicked. There's a tiny bit of like, yo, fuck off. Like, you don't have any right. I at least am his protector, right? Like, there's a chain of people who are allowed to give as much of a fuck about the king as the three of you, the queen, you, and the protector, do. And she's like, barring you, because she's like, you're not important, you're not special, like, get out of here. Like, it's like when people at the hospital are like, sorry, family members only, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely get that vibe. Like, is there a bit of like intentional malice?
No,
like,
no. But she like there is a bit of like you don't belong here. Not out of malice, but out of like
it's just an establishing of like this is who is in the in group.
She's making decisions for the king too. She's like, you don't need to see him, basically. And I don't know. Did we ever establish whether does Emma know? Because this is when this will really color. Does Emma know that you're sleeping with the king, or does he slip away from her? And so here's the question. I think either she knows
directly addressed it,
because either she knows that it's happening, so she can protect him while he's doing the sex with you, or she doesn't know and she's failing at her job, which when she finds out will fucking ruin her, right? Because if he has to slip away from her, that means there are hours at this point, like almost daily, where she's failing.
So yeah, that's the thing. And I think that this is dependent on the king's relationship with her and his guilt.
The king doesn't care about her at all. The king she's nothing. She doesn't.
Okay, so the king's relationship with his guilt.
About what?
Is this
having sex with
about having sex with me? Like, is this something where like he is being so careful that no one else knows that he is weak in this way, that he wouldn't tell the person who is tasked with protecting his life? Or does he like, is he conscious of the fact that like she can't say anything no matter what?
Until very recently, he is the king of a kingdom that, while culturally built for violence, has seen very little of it, right? His ancestors subjugated the people of the woods and kicked them out. He has like, you know, an army, but it's away fighting so far away that he's never going to be a part of it. He's lived in peace, and so never needed a royal protector. And so looks at Emma like she's a fucking statue, right? She might as well be a golem to him. She doesn't, it barely exists. So he probably doesn't think about her at all, or his own safety in this regard.
If he doesn't think about his own safety, then I don't think he would say.
No, he definitely wouldn't tell her like, hey, I need you to protect me while I go and do this thing. Like,
but if he doesn't think about her at all, then maybe he doesn't make the effort to conceal, like, I'm just going to go down this hallway, you stand at the door or whatever, I don't fucking care. Like,
so there you go. So does I guess the question would be, do you care? Does Alessandra care if she knows or not? Does Alessandra see her? Because you could tell the king, like, we can't let her know, you need to slip away, which undermines her whole operation, undermines his security, but you get bigger fish to fry now.
I think that Alessandra, at her haughtiest, probably sees the Lady Protector as lesser.
Yeah. I mean, you both have a little of that going on.
And so she is to this operation what Eugenia was, a tool. It doesn't matter whether she knows, but she does protect the king, and the king's safety is very important.
Okay.
Because it's important to her goals. So right. The Lady Protector has probably stood outside.
Yeah. All right. So that changes the tenor. So Emma knows that you're here because you have
not
this,
just
like,
because I'm
history.
checking on the king.
Yeah. And I think that part of that is her, like, why she's pushing, why she's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I got this handled. Because she's like, now's not the time, strumpet. Right? Like, if the king is in danger, I will be the one to protect him. That's my fucking job. It's in the name. There's no such royal prostitute.
So there is malice in it.
I wouldn't say that she's not malicious, but she's like, because part of the thing is, remember, Emma she was taken away from her family.
She also loves him.
Yes, and she loves him desperately, but like purely, right? Like, part of her thing is that she has to stay innocent forever.
Chaste,
exactly. She was chosen by magic ritual as the person whose soul is like most likely to be in this position, right? She loves the king in a pure way, and yeah, and you don't. You're like her opposite in that way, where like she doesn't think you love him at all. She thinks you're just manipulating him, and yeah. So she's just like, get thee behind me, Satan.
She can think whatever she wants.
Yeah, so she gives you this look like, basically, she has no guile. She's just blocking the door.
And I think that Alessandra like looks at her and like swallows hard, and like she's been like rushing through the castle, and like it's similar to how she was when she was looking for her son, right? Because her son to her is similarly a tool, but I feel like not all of, like, she has emotions, right? Yes. But she like covers them with plans and conceits and manipulations, and so like this is a very similar situation for her, whereas like she is worried and nervous and frantic, and it's like coming out in like actual, like, she's got an emotional fervor about it, whether it's,
I mean, do you want to, I guess, Miro, you're seeing this happen, right? And I don't think you're picking up on like the subtext, but basically the Lady Protector has said, the king is safe. He is within. I have him. I have this under control. I have him protected. Whatever else is going on. Alessandra seems to be having a problem with that, and she wants to go see the king.
Yeah.
I want to give Miro a chance to say something if he wants to, and then if you want to make a roll to try to convince her to like let you in or whatever, Blue Jay, you can have Alessandra do that.
Yeah, of course.
So Miro, do you say or do anything?
Yes. He says, Lady Protector, while I do not doubt that you have been vigilant in your watch over the room in which the king is, there are magics afoot, and, well, simply I do not know if you have been trained to spot them. I offer my services as a loyal priest. Another set of eyes, perhaps with a different perspective. I'm very worried for His Majesty.
Okay. Which sounds like you're trying to get yourself in there, but not Alessandra. So
Yeah,
there could be two separate things here, like a suasion roll and a persuasion roll.
Yeah, and like there's a moment where Alessandra is like, wait a second, if this guy can get in, then like, and she looks at Miro and like looks back at the Lady Protector, and like her eyes are wide, and like you saw before, like she was fucking smacked because she wanted to go do this instead of like what someone else thought she should do. Like, I think that you're aware that this is important to her, but she like looks at Miro, like, and her eyes are wide, and then she looks back at the Lady Protector, and there's very much like she's not gonna beg yet, but like it's on the tip of her tongue, you know? Like she really wants to get in there, and if you can get in there and she can't, like she's gonna be sad eyes. So like she's just looking at you with wide eyes and like trying to be like. Not that you would read, like, I don't know how much you would read.
Yeah, it sounds like you're Alessandra is going to try to persuade Miro to persuade the Lady Protector to let both of you in.
I mean, if Miro is going to have better luck, then yes, I'm totally willing to like hop on board whatever his magic shit god train is.
Ah, yes, the god train.
Ah, yes, the magic shit god train.
Okay, so Alessandra, let's have you roll. To persuade Miro.
Add +1 to the odd because you're doing it non-verbally, and he has a hard time picking things up.
Yeah,
anyway.
no, that makes sense. Yeah,
She's
so
just making a face at you.
I'm making a like.
She's having a
"Please
feeling.
help." Like, please help face at you, but you're like,
So the odd is 7.
okay, excellent. Fuck me, man.
Actually,
You're not.
I'll cancel that out because I see that you're in distress. I'll cancel that back out. It would be difficult, but he's.
I mean,
he's
it's still going to be difficult because I don't think I have anything that I can.
Already.
Yeah, you're not a noble. You're not really a staff or of the court.
I can't wait until Miro's follow-up soothing
No.
platitude.
Yeah. So I'll roll for it, but I don't have anything that I can fork in. So yeah, nope.
Too.
I'm just looking at you and you're like, huh?
So I think the way he reacts is he sees you being overly emotional, and he doesn't think you're going to be able to be helpful.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he's like, hold on. The king will be all right as long as, well, we're both sure that he is all right. My eyes see sometimes terrible, sometimes beautiful things. I'm sorry. It's very confusing right now. We will. Lady Protector, I'm sorry. Would you permit me to see him?
Well, let's have you attempt to sway her, because the reason here is like you protect his body. I am a priest. I can see to his soul.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot that the leader. I'm looking at my NPC list. I forgot the leader of the band has a name. His name is Emilio, and he's the hateful lutist. All right, let me get my Lady Protector character sheet here. Her will is 4.
Was 4. Okay. May I have an advantage die because I have explicitly been in court before in her presence attempting to make myself known as a spiritual advisor to the king.
Weren't you also dragged out of that?
You were also dragged out of that meeting by
She recognizes you, but probably only remembers the fact that you were thrown out of court a couple of times.
Okay, that's fair enough.
You're a shit disturber. But yeah, these are trying times. I think so you make the test. If you fail, so your success is that she lets you in, right?
Yep.
Okay. Are there any conditions on that? Like, do you wanna like be alone with the king? Does it matter? Like,
I don't think it matters particularly. Okay.
All right.
No,
So if you fail. Yeah, if you fail, then she's like, no, I'm not letting this crazy priest in here. Get out of here.
Okay, that's fine. Do I fork anything in here? Can I fork in Imperialia because I'm actually slightly more convincing because I know how bad this could potentially be?
She doesn't pick up on any of that, unfortunately. Like, she's just like, there's a bossy priest and a crazy lady who gets to have sex with the king, which is naughty and inappropriate, and they're bossing me around.
Okay.
naughty and inappropriate, and I'm definitely not jealous, I swear.
She's confused, right? Because like she's had a pretty bad indoctrination from childhood. Like, all right, there you go, fucking swayed like a new pair of boots. So she looks at you.
I'm gonna spend a fate point just because I'm working.
Yeah, you want to work on? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it will still be a pass, but I just want it.
Yeah, of course. So she looks at you, and then she looks at Alessandra. She says, "Lady Corvidae, you should go home." And then looks at Brother Miro and says, "Brother Miro," and turns to open the door, and like she's gonna escort you in.
Yep, he bows and does like a quick holy hand sign, and
Alessandra, what do you do? She lets Miro in and gives you one last look that's kind of hard to interpret. And you see past her into the room, and there's like the bed like thing with the stairs where you see the queen lying. And you can see this look through the door. She's not like lying peacefully, like she's kind of like half off the thing with like one arm trailing down, and the king is sitting on with his back against the little stone platform she's on, holding her arm, and holding her hand against his face and like muttering to himself. Like he's obviously in a bad way. You're muted, Vijay.
I'm just wondering, like, how this is horrific.
Yeah.
This whole like situation is like really fucking shitty, and like, there's a part of me that just wonders, like, how much Alessandra is using versus how much Alessandra like needs.
Yeah.
I see a power game here that Alessandra could take advantage of this entire thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, just from my end,
Queen
like,
Alessandra of Ice Castle over here. However, what's interesting is, we've seen your feelings, right?
Yeah, I think that she's not going to physically push her way past like a woman whose job it is to like not be like pushed around. But I think that when she sees him, she would call out. Like she would probably like call out like Tomas, like yell, and like maybe like dart forward a little bit, because she can like. I think that she wants some acknowledgement from him, but she also like she feels suddenly like powerless in the face of something that she can't control. Like she can't manipulate magical winter.
Totally.
And like she can't overpower a lady knight. Like she can't get in there if that woman won't let her in there unless someone who has more power wants her to be in there. Like, and she wants him to want her to be with him, right? So like she would call out to like
you know what would make you feel better though in this situation, which I'm going to give you.
What?
It's a soothing platitude.
Oh God.
So before you leave, so here's the thing: you shout Tomas, and deeply like upset the Lady Protector, because much like a peasant calling you Alessandra,
Yeah.
you have no right to call the king by his first name. Like,
Right.
not at all.
I don't
and that,
give a shit.
right, and that stings because you're not saying this as Lady Alessandra Corvide, you're saying this as like the lover of the king, and you've called him this in private a bunch of times, but to do so right into her, like right in her face, right? Like this is flaunting your intimacy with the king. And Emma is just like, the Lady Protector is just staggered by this.
She wouldn't let me in. I don't give a fuck about her.
Yeah, no, I know. And I think,
Beyblade.
God, I think that she like puts a gauntleted hand out to like shove you back.
Like, oh God.
Yeah, so she just like puts out this, because she's like big and tough, right? She's real strong. She's like power 7 or something. So she just like just puts her hand out and just pushes you.
No, she goes to, and I redirect my instinct. And it's like, whoa, this is, look, Lady Protector, she's filled with grief. She does not, it is not her fault that she has these emotions towards our king. I understand her. Please forgive her this.
She looks, okay, so here's the thing. She looks at Miro and takes a breath, and she is about to tell Miro why she doesn't like you, Alessandra. Like you can feel it. Everything hangs in a moment. And you can feel she's about to be like, you don't know her. She's awful. Let me tell you why.
No, and like there's that thing that's like Miro's all like I can see her looking at me with the like I'm gonna violence you.
Well, it wasn't even that.
eyes.
Like she was just pushing you. She's angry, right? She was just like, get away from here. Get away from the king.
Well, yeah, but like she doesn't. Does she push me? Does she like?
She's
there...
moving to like shove you back from the door, but it's a bouncer push, not a I want to hurt you push. It's like a you're not on the list. Get to the back of the line.
I don't like to be touched.
No, totally.
But like Miro is like she's like I understand her. She's worried, and I'm like you don't understand anything. Like I also lash out like the same, like probably at the same time that like Lady Protector is like no.
Miro is now stuck between these two badass ladies.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, so the core thing at hand here is that the core thing at hand here is that Lady Protector is about to tell Miro about your adultery, to be like, this fucking harlot has been having sex with the king, and
so we don't get. There is no. I yelled out his name, and we don't get any kind of test as to like whether he hears me or cares or like anything.
He heard you.
Okay.
But this is all like in this moment.
Yeah, it's like a couple of like seconds.
Yeah, I mean, in the time it would take for him to shake himself out of that, stand up, and walk over to you,
if he was going to,
she's gonna be like, because he's a priest, right? Like Brother Miro is the kind of person that you would tell sinful behavior to because she doesn't like you, and she wants to be like, brother, she's a harlot, and she's bewitched the king, and they have the sex, and it's impure. In the hope that Miro will be like, strumpet, and drag you away by your hair, right? That she'll have an ally. But really, she's just a kid, and she's lashing out because she's angry at you for daring being intimate with the king in her face, right? It's one thing when there's a wall between you, but another to call the king by his first name right in front of her.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out something really quick to the audience. And I'm sure none of the characters noticed this, but Brother Miro is putting aside the fact that he doesn't like Alessandra already to try and defend her. And that goes completely unnoticed by everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was important for my RPs.
Oh, right, because you think I'm impious.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This certainly wouldn't help.
So I guess, I mean, we're due another break. So let's take that now. And on the break, think about what you will do to interrupt or stop the Lady Protector from spilling your secret. Ponder that, if you will. And when we get back, we'll find out what happens, and then we'll check in with Joy after unleashing hell, literally, and we'll see what happens. All right, stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.